5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All systems go with Josh Appelbaum starts now.
Hello and welcome to episode 456 of the All Systems Go Sports Betting Podcast, powered by Rhythm. I am your host, Josh Appelbaum. What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday, another day here in the arena, guys, and we're going to get right back to doing what we love this time of year, waiting for baseball, watching the snow melting if you're like me in New England, but more importantly, sweating college hoops. OMG. We got more college basketball today, and I love it. I do have a 3-pack once again for you guys. Going to see if we can grind out another 2-in-1 day, which is, knock on wood, been our MO here. Doing pretty well recently, so let's see if we can keep it rolling. But tonight, we're really going to put it to the test because I have two moneyline short favorites, one of which looks so disgusting. They let us down and got rolled the last time we played them, but they're actually playing a ranked team and they're favored tonight. It's the ultimate fishy play. And then we have another dog that no one wants to play. They think this favorite is absolutely going to crush them. But we're going to take the dog here in a epic inflated dog buy low opportunity. So once again, a 3-pack of college basketball. And we're going to see if we can eke out another 2-in-1 night because that's exactly what we did last night. 2-in-1 plus 0.44 units. Man, I tell you what, I have not had my heart beat out of my chest like Iowa State last night in quite a while. I don't know what it is about college basketball, guys, but when you're in that tight game, and I wrote about this in my book, the NFL Sharp Betting Playbook, but what I love about sports betting, obviously cash and tickets is the best, but to me, and why I love betting, aside from just, the challenge, the daily challenge of trying to stare at the information, stare at the data, find a good sharp spot, take a position and then go sweat your game. But to me, the best part of betting, when I feel the most alive, when my heart is beating out of my chest, is when the game is right on the edge, where it's right on the number and you're in that crazy little zone, walking the tightrope of you don't know if you're going to win or lose. It's right there. And you just got to sweat it out and just grind and find a way to come out with a win. So to me, that's the best part of sports betting. And if you watched the Iowa State game last night, you know exactly what I'm talking about because that was an epic play for us. Basically everything we talk about, going contrarian, following sharp action. Remember, everyone and their mother was on Houston there. However, the line crept up toward Iowa State -1.5 to -2.5. Iowa State got off to a great start. I think they're up like 15-5 at one point. Then they get down, and Houston looks like they're absolutely rolling with who is the Kingston Flemings. I think that guy's going to be a great pro. He's a little guy, but he reminds me of Steph Curry. But anyway, Iowa State battles back, hits a couple huge threes, some free throws at the very end, which, again, if you laid the points, you actually ended up covering -2.5, but man, I was glad to just get the money line there. You needed one last free throw from Jefferson to cover that 3. But man, what an epic performance and comeback by Iowa State. My heart was pounding as they were down by 10 and then down by 7, then down by 5. Had some breaks go our way and we will take it. So Iowa State, epic fade the trendy dog play. You love to see it. And it was funny because I tweeted about this game at Josh_insights when they came through. And I had a bunch of people, reply to the tweet saying the same exact thing. They all said, "What a rigged game. That was rigged. Houston was point shaving." It's like, no. Number one, I know who you're on. You're on Houston. Because if it was the other way around, you wouldn't be tweeting me saying the game was rigged. But no, the games are not rigged. It's craziness. It's March, or it's not March yet, but this is the madness that we're used to. I can tell you it is not rigged, but sometimes, things break your way. Sometimes they don't, but Iowa State, the Cyclones coming up absolutely massive for the team. That was great to see. So shout out to the Cyclones. Also got Tarleton State. What a sweat that was. The line dipped against us a little bit, but we danced with the one who brung us. Tarleton State was down much of the game. They actually should have won it in overtime. Missed a free throw. Abilene forced overtime, but then Tarleton State turned it on in OT. It was right on the wire. And then a kid made a huge and one 3-point play to win it there at the end. So Tarleton State came through. Only loser was Alcorn State. And again, that was a crazy one. And I was telling my buddy Darush, weird line movement yesterday. Alcorn State ends up losing. They were -1.5. It flipped back to Florida A&M -1.5. Then the other game, I mentioned this earlier, was Nicholls State. Nicholls State against Houston Christian. At one point, they opened getting a point, and then they flipped to -1.5, and then it flipped back to Houston Christian -1.5. So weird movement back and forth in some of these low bet obscure games. But either way, guys, our goal, as we've been talking about, is going 2-1. Three plays, try to go 2-1. Just make it very simple. And you notice when we have 3 plays, we don't say, let's crush the books and let's get a sweep. No, I think you're taunting the betting gods when you say that. The goal is to eke out a 2-1. Grind out a 2-1 because you know sports betting is not easy. It's very hard. So we just want to have realistic expectations. But that is now 7 of the last 8 days going 2-1. So as always, guys, we'll see if we can keep it rolling. And again, we got some huge games tonight to talk about. So let's waste no more time and get right back to it. Again, college hoops, what's better than that? So first one on the board, let's talk about this one. This is the first game, and it's also the most heavily bet game of the night. We got Michigan and Purdue. 6:30 p.m. tip. I believe this is on Peacock. So let's set the stage, talk splits, talk line moves. We'll see if we can get a winner here, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So Michigan comes in 24-1, the number 1 ranked team in college basketball. Arizona dropped a couple games, so Michigan is now number 1. They've won 10 straight. They just beat up on UCLA 86-56, easily covered as a 15.5 point home favorite. Meanwhile, Purdue 21-4, not too shabby either. They're ranked 7th, so we got 2 top 7 teams facing off here. Most heavily bet game of the night. But we have seen the Purdue Boilermakers win 4 in a row and just beat Iowa 78-57. Don't remind me, I had Iowa there, and Purdue rolled 78-57, easily cruising as a 1.5 point road favorite. So what have you seen across the market for this one? Well, this game opened with Michigan listed as a 1.5 point road favorite. And the public cannot believe that this line is so short because Michigan, 24-1, number 1 team in the country, they're only laying a 1.5. Seems fishy. Odds makers are stupid, right? Michigan is the easy play. Well, that's what the public's saying. 77% of spread bets are going with Michigan. Now, must admit, at a lot of books, you did see this line tick up -1.5 up to -2.5 in favor of the Wolverines. However, here's the thing. Once you see a low number that gets ticked up a little bit, you're always thinking to yourself, does it get to a point where you start to see buyback and it comes back down? Because this has been a situation here in a lot of these big games where you'll see, quote unquote, the better team on the road move up a little bit, and then you'll see sharps come in and hit that, basically that buy low dog at an inflated number, bring it back down. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. We saw Michigan go -1.5 up to -2.5. However, a lot of these 2.5s are juiced up toward Purdue, +2.5, -115, looking like it may get back down to 2. So that tells me that once this got inflated and just the public overwhelming support for Michigan, brought that line up a bit, it didn't, fly through 3 up to 4. Maybe 2.5 is your high water mark here. So we're starting to see it come back down to Purdue. And why is that important? Because Purdue is the number 1 contrarian play tonight. Everybody and their mother on Michigan, 77% of tickets at DraftKings. So even if we take away kind of the inflated value and the high water mark, maybe coming back down, maybe some late RLM here in favor of Purdue. Even if we take all that away, this is just your number 1 bet against the public play. It's a Tuesday night. Every drunk guy at the bar is saying you got to lay with Michigan. They're going to dominate and roll and crush the Boilermakers. So just from the standpoint of fading the public, great opportunity here to go with Purdue, only getting 23% of spread bets at DK in the most heavily bet game of the night. We flip over to Circa. Further validation here of Purdue being sharp. They're only getting 28% of spread bets, but nearly 50% of spread dollars. So low bets, higher dollars there out in the desert at Circa from the wise guys. This was notable to me because I'm taking the points with Purdue, but I did notice if you're bold and you think they can pull off the upset, they're only getting 58% of moneyline bets, but over 90% of moneyline dollars at Circa. So it is a sharp split on Purdue around +130. I'm going to take the points, though, protect ourselves a bit. Ken Palm has Michigan winning by 2, 78-76, which does provide some actionable value on Purdue +2.5. Purdue has some advantages here. Better three-point shooting, 23rd in the country versus 91st for Michigan. They do a better job of not turning it over on offense, 21st versus 164th. And they limit their opponents to fewer offensive rebounds, so fewer extra possessions for their opponents. 18th fewest turnovers, 18th fewer offensive rebounds allowed versus 70th for Michigan. Lastly, noticed a 10% sharp mush edge from our friends at Juice Reel on Purdue. So 10% more of these sharper winning bettors like you guys out there listening who have downloaded Juice Reel, synced up your books, 10% more of the sharper players also going Purdue. So everybody and their mother on Michigan, that means you had me at Purdue, contrarian play here. But let's see if we can grab an inflated dog. Now, here's the thing. Purdue is pretty much plus 2.5 everywhere, but this is why you got to shop around, have multiple outs, utilize your Odds Logic live odds page. Remember, 7-day free trial, 50% off your first month just by going to oddslogic.com/Josh123. Why do I say that? Because I did notice one book that was offering me a +3. Everybody's at 2.5, and even FanDuel is at plus 2.5 -114 for Purdue. So they're juiced toward Purdue. But again, this is why you want to play different books off each other. I noticed that Caesars was offering +3 at -110. That tells me they have a ton of Michigan money. So I played Purdue +3 at Caesars, -110. Again, at least try to get the 2.5 there. But if you can get a 3, Caesars is offering the best price. But wouldn't it be nice if Purdue won this game outright? Let's go Boilermakers. Second game on the board for me. Let's look at a 7 p.m. tip-off here between Kent State and Bowling Green. Now, Kent State comes in 19-7 on the year. They've won 2 in a row. Just held off Ball State 75-68. However, did not cover as a 7.5-point road favorite. Meanwhile, Bowling Green 16-10 on the year. They've also won 2 in a row. They just brushed aside Toledo 80-70, covered as a 3.5-point home favorite. So what have we seen across the market here? Well, this game opened Bowling Green listed around a 2.5-point home favorite. And right off the bat, even when you factor in home court, which Bowling Green is at home, Bowling Green 16-10, Kent State is 19-7. So just the fact that Kent State has a better record, public is saying the wrong team is favored. So we're getting nearly 2/3 of spread bets at DraftKings going with Kent State. However, the line isn't down to 2 or 1 or a pick'em, and the public going Kent State. It's actually kind of gone the other way. You've seen Bowling Green get juiced up -2.5, -115. Some books are even at -3. And if you look at the line history, which is super important, and again, you can get your Odds Logic live odds just with your mouse or with your finger if you're on your tablet or your iPad. You tap the box that shows any odds for any game. They'll pull up the line history, and you'll notice that some books even reach as high as 3.5 Bowling Green, -3.5. So the fact that the juice is toward Bowling Green, and some books have even gotten to 3 or 3.5, this line has never gotten down to 2 or 1 or anything less than Bowling Green -2.5, even though the public's on Kent State. That tells me that the sharp money, the liability, is on Bowling Green here. Now, if you look at DK, Bowling Green only getting about 1/3 of tickets, but more than half the money. So good, sharp, low bets, higher dollar split. At Circa, out in Vegas, 50% of spread bets on Bowling Green, but it accounts for 73% of spread dollars. So both DraftKings and Circa offering a very sharp, low bets, higher dollar split in favor of the Falcons, the Bowling Green Falcons. Ken Palm has Bowling Green winning by 3 points. He also has the Falcons ranked a little bit higher, 140th in the country versus 147th. So remember, the rankings or the win-loss records, they can be deceiving sometimes. Basically, even though Bowling Green is 16-10 and Kent State's 19-7, Ken Palm analytics actually say Bowling Green's the better team based on, again, the analytics. Now, you know where I might be going with this one. I ain't laying a -2.5 or a -3, so I went Bowling Green money line. I got them at -150 at Caesars, or maybe it was Fanatics. Shop around because some other books are as high as -155, -160. Bowling Green does have the better defensive efficiency, 89th in the country versus 186th. They force more turnovers on defense, 48th versus 243rd, and they allow fewer offensive rebounds, 55th versus 126th. Lastly, because it's late in the year, if you're looking at these conference games, at least just, be aware of maybe a revenge factor. Like Tarleton State last night, that was a revenge game. They had lost previously to Abilene. Well, Bowling Green, they went on the road back on December 30th to Kent State, and they lost by 3, 96-93. So this would be another motivational revenge angle for Bowling Green. So public is saying Kent State better record. You got to take the points. But all movement liability has been on Bowling Green. We got good fade the trendy dog splits. We also have a 22% sharp mush edge in favor of Bowling Green Falcons from our friends at Juice Reel. So you add it all up, guys. I'm going Bowling Green to win the damn game straight up on the money line, minus 150. Last bet of the night. And boy, I'm worried about this one. This is the joke I made earlier at the outset. This is a team that totally let us down and completely, just gave away a unit to them, even though they're sharp as attack. But they're really sharp again here tonight. So I got to play them. I'm talking 9 p.m. tip tonight. Nebraska at Omaha. Nebraska at Iowa. Nebraska comes in 22-3, ranked 9th in the country. They've won 2 of their last 3. Just beat up on Northwestern 68-49. Easily covered as a 13.5 point home favorite. On the other hand, Iowa 18-7, but they've lost 2 in a row. And as I mentioned, remember if you're like me, you took them plus 1.5. I think they were 2.5 down to 1.5 in that game against Purdue, and they got rolled 78-57. So let us down. But here's where it gets interesting. This game opened at basically a pick'em. Some shops even opened Nebraska, a very short 1 or 1.5 point favorite. And the public cannot believe that they can get Nebraska at basically a pick'em price. Because Nebraska, ranked 9th, great record. Iowa, unranked, lost 2 in a row, just got dominated by Purdue. So right off the bat, opening line, unbelievable. Public is saying this should be Nebraska -5. You're giving me, a pick'em or getting a point all day. Public says Nebraska all day. 79% of spread bets are running as fast as they can to the window to back the Cornhuskers. However, even though Nebraska, in the second most heavily bet game, this may end up being the most heavily bet game of the night because Purdue-Michigan is your number 1 bet game, but that's a 6:30 game. This Nebraska-Iowa game was a 9 o'clock game, so just the fact that it's later in the night probably will end up being the most heavily bet. And everybody and their mother is on Nebraska. However, the fact that this line has moved toward Iowa tells me smart money here. Fade the trendy dog, sharp RLM is going with the Hawkeyes. Even if you take away this pick'em or even kind of dog to fave plus 1.5 to -1, -1.5, we've seen the line get further toward Iowa to -1 or even 1.5 at some shops. Even if you take that away, Iowa is just a great fade the drunk guy at the bar. You know what the drunk guy at the bar is doing tonight? He's money line parlaying Michigan and Nebraska, and hopefully he loses both. But anyway, you look at this fade the trendy dog play in favor of Iowa, only 21% of spread bets at DraftKings in the second most heavily bet game of the night, or what might be the most heavily bet game of the night. Those are the games you want to bet against the public with the most public bias. But you also look at Circa. Only 32% of spread bets are on Iowa, but it accounts for 71% of the dollars. So out in Vegas, Circa caters to wise guys. A lot of big money going with Iowa. You also look at a money line play here. So I jumped on Iowa at -125. Shop around here. You might be able to get Iowa as low as -115. I moneylined Iowa when they were -1.5. I am seeing some books now at -1. I think as long as they kind of stay a favorite here, I think we're all right. But again, you can get them as low as -115. At Circa, 40% moneyline bets, over 90% of moneyline dollars on Iowa. And then here we go. One of our favorite system matches. Unranked home fave versus ranked opponent. It's fishy. Why is Iowa favored? I know it's only a point or 1.5, but why are they favored if they're unranked and Nebraska is the far better team? Well, teams in this spot, unranked home fave versus ranked opponent on the money line just winning the game. They're 8-5 this year, 62%. They're 137-75, 65%. Straight up with a 5% ROI since 2020. So if you out there are listening and saying, how on earth can we bet Iowa? We bet them against Purdue, and they got just completely rolled and was disgusting, and they were pathetic. If you watch that game, it was just so many bunnies, missed layups, and just a gross team to sweat. Well, this is the thing about sports betting. Even if they hurt you real bad last time, if they're sharp as attack, you got to play them. So I am, believe it or not, going Iowa. Money line. Win the damn game. You can get them anywhere -115 to -125. So Iowa money line, Bowling Green money line, and Purdue, try to get the +3 if you can at Caesars. So that about does it for episode 456 of the All Systems Go Sports Betting Podcast, powered by Rhythm. This is the part of the pod where we wrap things up, and I always start first by saying thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for grinding in the arena with me every single day, trying to eke out 2-1 nights. If you do enjoy the pod, if you look forward to the breakdowns, maybe you tail, maybe you pick and choose, but you listen because you value the insights, which I hope is the case, well, please, could you do me a solid and give this podcast a 5-star review? If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, all you got to do is click the 5 stars, Leave a nice comment if you feel so inclined. Recommend the pod to a friend. Click the follow button. Retweet the pod when I put it out at Josh_Insights on Twitter. All those things would be very much appreciated. Next, if you enjoy this style of sports betting breakdown, we don't talk opinions. We don't go off of our gut. We go off of what the market is telling us. And anytime you go into a big slate of whatever the sport may be, you don't want preconceived notions. You're just saying, let the board speak to me. Let me find the system matches. That's the whole goal of this podcast, to teach the data-driven approach. But if you want to learn more about data-driven betting, you want to let me know you appreciate the pod, you have someone in your life who could use some data-driven tips, who told you, yeah, Houston all day, the wrong team is favored. All that kind of stuff. If any of that is the case, or you want to just, again, make my day, I would love for you to go to Amazon.com and type in the Everything Guide to Sports Betting or the NFL Sharp Betting Playbook and grab one of my books, bring them to the sports book. I'll sign them for you. I'll buy you a beer or a ginger ale, or we'll take an Irish car bomb when Iowa State comes through for us. That kid that hit the 3 in the corner, man, that was just so huge last night. But anyway, also wanted to mention, have you downloaded Rhythm and Juice Reel yet? My 2 favorite sports betting apps. Rhythm, fantastic for their AI-backed models and predictions for game bets and player props. And Juice Reel, so many great features. You can follow the Robo Jackson best bet picks, the Sharp Mush indicators, the arbitrage plays, the shop for the best line futures. You can also support the pod. I'll pass the hat. If you'd like to tip your podcast host, right from the Juice Reel app, you can sign up to get the ASG best bet picks. As soon as I play them, they go right to the app. So I bet these games, earlier in the day. If you want to listen to the pod and get the plays, but maybe you want to get them earlier, you can sign up to get those ASG best bets directly from Juice Reel. It costs you $4.99 a week. No, not $499 a week. $4.99 a week. $5. Again, I make the joke, but my wife loves going to Starbucks. I'm a Dunks guy. It's a cup of coffee at Dunks. It's less than a cup of coffee, a venti mocha, whatever it may be at Starbucks. But you would be supporting the pod, and you'd be getting the plays early and hopefully beating closing lines. So download Rhythm, download Juice Reel, give them a 5-star review in the App Store. Lastly, do you have a live odds page? If you don't have one, you need one. You got to be able to track the market. I don't know how people bet without a live odds page, because you got to know, number one, what are all the sports available to bet on today? What are all the games? I need the start times. I need the live in-game wagering odds. I need the live scoring. But I really got to be able to track the market pre-flop leading up to the game. So give me all the games. Give me the opening column that never changes. The current odds. You can see which direction the line has moved. You can shop for the best price. You can pull up the line history. It's all available to you when you sign up for Odds Logic. So go sign up for Odds Logic. Best live odds page around. Whether you don't have a live odds and you need one, or you have one and it's free but it's slow and you don't know where the data is coming from, or you have one and it's really expensive. If any of those are the are happen to be the case for you, you should give Odds Logic a try. I think you're going to like it. In fact, I'm almost very confident you're going to like it. Just go to oddslogic.com/Josh123. Make sure you do the /Josh123 at the end, because that'll give you the 7-day free trial and 50% off your first month of service. So that about does it for episode 456 of the ASG pod on a big Tuesday. As always, guys, 2 final thoughts. 1, whether I see you at the Borgata in Atlantic City, Twin River in Rhode Island, the Brook in New Hampshire, Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun down in Connecticut, at the Encore in Boston, Plainridge Park Casino, MGM Springfield, the Nash in my neck of the woods on the border of Massachusetts and New Hampshire, or of course out in the desert where the true grinders get down, where Billy Walters sends his number runners, where the lowest juice possible is found at the South Point, where Sweat and Sharp Contrarian plays jumping in the stadium swim pool when you cash a big ticket at Circa. Wherever it may be, you're going to walk up to me. You're going to show me a Tarleton State getting it done in overtime ticket, and you're going to show me an Iowa State. Holy crap, what a sweat that was last night. That's got to be top 5 this year for us. Unbelievable. But show me that Iowa State, Tarleton State ticket. Guess what? First one's on me, next one's on you. We'll post about the book. Sweat Sharp Contrarian plays all night long. So as always, guys, coming off a 2-1 or a 1-2, a 3-0 or an 0-3, a great night, a terrible night, a hot streak, a cold streak, whether we're up and things are going great or whether we're down and we're grinding and nothing's going our way, we just got to stick to the model. We got to be consistent. We got to be disciplined. Flat betting, risking 1 unit per play, limiting our plays, bet twist, not bet to win, not chasing. If we can find those system matches, games that fit our model against the public, with the house, with the pros, flat bet, avoid parlays and get that CLV. If we can do that, we're going to be successful sports bettors. So have a great Tuesday night, everybody. And then we'll be right back at it tomorrow. That'll be Hump Day Edition, episode 457 of the All Systems Go Sports Betting Podcast, powered by Rhythm. Good luck, everybody, and have a great Tuesday night.